Good afternoon, welcome to UK Column News. It is the 4th of November in 2014 and it's just gone 1 o'clock. Myself, Louise Collins, Brian Garish and Nick are here in Plymouth. We're going.
We are, that was a bit of a shock, wasn't it?
There we look a bit different on screen as well.
Okay, well, what are we going to say? Weather's not too bad here in Plymouth, autumnal, lots of leaves on the ground everywhere, very damp because of the rain. The autumn mists are in November. Let's face it, it's nearly Christmas, it's nearly all over.
Thanks for that.
Okay, my pleasure.
You're going first.
Well, life is getting more and more interesting around security, and the new head of GCHQ has been speaking out and saying that basically GCHQ needs to team up with sort of Silicon Valley type American companies because international terrorists, ISIS, are now burrowing their way into American global companies, and they are using their systems as a way of furthering their terrorist objectives. So he thinks that there should be a coalition, a partnership between GCHQ and these organisations. Now, there's a few articles in the paper. We've just picked up one article today from Channel 4 News. So Jeff White here is here talking on technology. Look at the headline: why GCHQ bosses' comments on internet security are a good thing. So the headline immediately draws you into supporting what GCHQ has said. But the article ends with this: it's great to hear that Hannigan wants GCHQ to enter the public debate on the issue. In public is precisely the place where these matters should be decided, not in the secrecy of the Cheltenham donut, nor the obscurity of Silicon Valley's boardrooms. So what's going on here with this piece of text? Because the headline, if he means the last sentiment, then the headline is deliberately misleading.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
It's interesting stuff, isn't it? Well, we wanted to just cover that one against the background of this, which is man arrested in Cornwall on suspicion of preparing for an act of terrorism. And these were the key parts of a very short story. The 26-year-old is being questioned by police after he was arrested in Hale, Cornwall. Officers of the South East Counter-Terrorism Unit and Devon and Cornwall Police. And what was it all about? We should be pretty interested that we've got potential terrorists wandering around beautiful locations in Cornwall. Well, here we are. The arrest was pre-planned and was not made in response to any immediate threat to public safety in Hale. Our officers will continue to maintain a presence in the area, offering reassurance to the local community. So what is this story about? We're saying that somebody's been arrested, but they don't, pose any immediate threat, but we're going to keep officers on the ground in the local area to reassure people. This has got to be nonsense.
It makes no sense. The whole story makes absolutely no sense. So if there's terrorism, but it's a pre-planned arrest, and there's no threat to the public, so how is that terrorism?
I don't know. It's a job to get your hand around.
Maybe we should speak to Cornwall Police.
Thought police at work here, so we have no background, we have no evidence, we have no detail of what the actual terrorist threat is. Somebody's just lifted off the streets, put into a van, and has now disappeared somewhere.
But that can't have been you anyway, because you were in Birmingham for the weekend.
I was in Birmingham, so it wasn't me. I think Nick's got a comment, have you?
Let me just stop you. YouTube, you've got a background, severe background.
Okay, so
we're back.
We're obviously going to have an interesting week this week. Sorry if you've had some problems with the sound there. Hopefully that's cleared up now.
Oh, it's gone now altogether.
What, the sound has gone?
Oh, they're behind. Okay.
Okay. Right, so what have we got happening in Cornwall? Well, we've got the police obviously getting the public fearful about a terrorist threat. A man is arrested, no evidence put forward, simply lifted off the streets. and then we're going to keep more police on the streets in the local area in order to reassure the community. There's a game being played here.
Huge game. I wonder if they're going to be the real police officers, or are they going to be the community support officers as well?
We don't know.
As well, yeah.
But how does this situation build up? Well, perhaps we should switch across to the Mirror. And here we've got a classic article with a big headline. If we can just pop that one up, Nick, if that's possible. There we go. Shocking ISIS video shows gleeful young boy being trained in the art of warfare. And if you go on the Mirror site, they've got a video which purports to show a couple of young boys, one of them here, actually being trained in using guns. What we found particularly interesting, if you look at this young man, is that he has red hair. And
yes.
That is very interesting, because this young lad's on the street in...
well, yeah, well, I was about to say, where are they filming this?
This is supposed to be Syria, Raqqa area. So we have this young man with red hair.
Quite pale skin as well.
Quite pale skin. Watch what he's doing with another young lad while he's imitating adults, or he's playing guns, as many young boys do. But this is what the Mirror tells us. So it comes in here. Smiling gleefully as he sprints to hide behind a wall, this blonde-haired boy could be any other carefree youngster playing cops and robbers. Holding a heavy-duty pellet gun, he expertly fires at an invisible enemy as he dodges between rubble. But from an innocent children's game, far from an innocent children's game, this is yet more evidence of the shocking reality of life under the Islamic State.
Can I just jump in there? And that's a good point by Fraggle. It looks like, is that a martial arts belt? So that could be a green belt. No, he could be going. It could. Well, it could be anything. I mean, it could be anything. It could be people doing survival practice and stuff. I don't know.
Well, it could, but it's worth watching the video clip, because, in fact, he doesn't dodge from rubble. He moves from the side of one building to another building. But we say, who is this young lad? And here is the paper putting forward, this is more evidence. Well, it's not evidence of anything. It's a video. Where has it come from? What's the provenance? What's the objective of it? Who are the people involved in it?
And where's the proof it is where they're saying it?
Well,
exactly.
Indeed. And where's it come from? Well, it draws you back through to this website, where they're saying this website created by people in the local area who are suffering this terrible violence and abuse by the ISIS members. So they might have problems with electricity and power, but they create a fantastic website, and then they post a video of a red-haired young man playing with weapons. So we've got the whole of the terrorist situation being based on this very, very suspect information, but GCHQ is saying, well, these people are so dangerous, we need to team up with American global companies, and we need to really start a massive control system to monitor who's saying what on the internet.
Paul in our chat room is saying that apparently there are a lot of redheads and blondes with pale skin in the Middle East. Apparently, so it isn't unusual to see a child like that. But a lot of other people are saying that it is definitely a martial arts outfit and a belt and jacket.
Okay, well, have a look at the Mirror article for yourself. And our point is that we are seeing an increasing clampdown on our liberties in the United Kingdom based on, we are told, an increasing terrorist threat. When we look for the real evidence of this terrorist threat, suddenly everything becomes less than obvious. Well, if we're worried about terrorism from overseas, perhaps we've got some terrorists at work inside the country.
Distraction terrorists. So the man who wants a revolution and the man who descends on Wall Street with his band of happy followers to demand an end to the current financial system is being backed by the very same bankers he wants rid of. In his latest rant, he has called for an orgy of banker bashing and urged people stop paying their taxes. But Russell Brand, who is worth around £15 million, $15 million, has managed to raise £1 million from the very same bankers that he puts down and wants revolution against, to make a documentary about his life and to becoming a messiah, from a heroin addict in Grays, Essex, to the rise, the marriage of Katy Perry, to now the leader of the revolution. But yes, he's getting his £1 million backing from large investment bankers. So you've been, he's been done, hasn't he? He's been duped. We've seen him for what he is. We've been saying it for a while, that he is a distraction.
Absolutely.
And there it is.
And we've got some people getting very agitated that the UK column has dared to criticise this man. We've had several emails saying, well, Russell Brand is obviously a man, he's on the right lines, he's attacking the system, and we say this is the big dupe. This man is drawing people into something very dangerous, which is revolution. Nobody needs to attack the bankers. What we need is lawful action by everybody so that the criminal element is dealt with in the appropriate way. And Russell Brandt's calls for revolution are quite clearly another attempt to destabilise the country. Who's paying for it? The bankers, presumably the same bankers that help fund political charity Common Purpose, George Soros's bankers that are funding Open Society, and all of course banking money which has been helping to promote the Reset organisation, which was looking to attack Britain's constitution. So Russell Brand from us gets a big thumbs down, and we're very happy to take on the challenge of anybody who mistakenly believes this man is good.
Thank you.
Well, what we need to solve the problem in Britain is a heavyweight, isn't it?
Yes, we do. Okay, so we complain about our ministers' ability to do their jobs that they are tasked with. Well, we need to keep a thought for the people in Belgium, and our thoughts go out to you people in Belgium. They have a lady called Maggie de Block as their Minister for Public Health. I'm sure she's a wonderful lady, but I just wondered our viewers' thoughts as, would this be the right woman to promote public health?
And obesity.
And obesity.
And here she is.
And here she is.
And she's...
I'm sure she's lovely. But is she really the right woman to be doing the job as Public Health Minister for the poor people of Belgium?
Well,
and I wonder what obesity rates are like in Belgium.
Right, we're going to get some flack for this, I'm sure, but the point is, this is hypocrisy. We've got people warning the population that they should be watching their weight. There's even indications that if the state considers you to be overweight, then you're not going to be treated by the NHS.
And obese parents with obese children are having social services come into their homes.
That's right, if your child is considered to be too fat. So here I think what this is the special people. These people are above the law. They can do as they please. They don't have to follow the same rules that are being set for the rest of us. And if you think we're being unkind about Belgium, then we thought we'd just give you a gentle reminder.
Before you jump in, Anderson24, no. We've just thought it would be a love match, the UK column love match. Actually, you're wrong. Go on, put the picture up.
Well, here it is. This is our love match, because we think that in the Lonely Hearts, this lady might be teamed up with Eric Pickles, of course, our very own super-size member of government who says one thing to us and does something different. Of course, Eric Pickles was called a pink geisha in an article written in one of the mainstream papers. And apparently he can glide across his office floor like a pink geisha. So
lovely thought.
I think anybody who wants to vote for this, apparently the obesity rate in Belgium is
10.8% below average.
That's because she's...
And the people are seeing her, maybe this is what maybe Eric Pickles needs to go for the job as health minister. And that could lower the obesity rates in this country.
We should start a campaign.
Let's start a campaign.
But I think they will squash all opposition. But over to you on the next one.
Okay, so where are we? Yes.
Beyonce.
Okay, Beyonce. Okay, so our Cabinet Minister, Esther McVey, who is a former GMTV presenter, has spoken out about Beyonce and believes that Beyonce is a great model for our young girls of this country. Well, Miss Fay, I disagree. This is the woman who uses subliminal messages in her videos. There's Beyonce and there's Miss McVey doing the same kind of little pose. She hasn't got quite the same But okay, if we can move on to the next one. Here's another picture of Beyonce. This is, I think, promoting her perfume, I think, and it was actually it got stopped because it was too raunchy and it had to be after the watersheds. They had to start playing it after 9:30. And then she also has this is the video which we have discussed about in her videos, subliminal images through her videos. She's also obviously married to Jay-Z, who apparently is a 33-degree Mason, and a lot of her videos are very, very raunchy, and especially this one. And this is who Esther McVey believes our young girls should be inspiring to be like.
Do you
Esther McVey.
Do you think she really believes what she's saying, or is this just total ignorance of another politician?
I think she probably believes it, exactly. Yeah, that's what I believe.
She believes what she says.
I totally believe what she's saying, yeah.
Yeah, well, we get another hint of where it's going from this one, I think.
Yeah, exactly. A new sculpture has appeared in Birmingham depicting a real Birmingham family, according to its maker, who is Gillian Waring. Miss Waring hopes people in Birmingham can actually relate to this sculpture. Well, I need to look further into Miss Waring and what she's all about, but I'd just like to ask the people of Birmingham, and actually the men of Birmingham, how do you feel about this sculpture that has appeared? It's standing outside the library in Birmingham, and apparently it's had very good feedback from the people of Birmingham. But what are your thoughts on this, Brian?
It's nudging. My thoughts are that it's nudging. This is getting the debate over the fact that we're going to demolish heterosexual families. Basically, it's going to be anything goes in the future, and it will be followed by just test tubes. There'll be no mums or dads. But what you're doing here is you're putting out these images. That provokes the debate, and then after a while it all calms down. So you've sown the seed in the public mind that this is the future. But the other thing, of course, it does, and you've done it by saying, well, what do the men in Birmingham think about this? Of course, the other function of this is to drive a wedge between mums and dads,
and breaking down the whole family unit as well.
And breaking it down. So this is very, very serious stuff. We've reported images and statues across the country for a long time. Their rise is not accidental. This is part of a applied behavioural psychology programme to nudge in what the next agenda is. So, as we always say, if you've got photographs of local monuments or paintings or pictures of this nature, we're always interested in receiving them because the moment we show these pictures on UK Column News, more people send in.
Yep.
Well, some interesting events around Theresa May. We've got Mr. Baker, Norman Baker, Lib Dem, has resigned from the Home Office, and he said he can no longer work with Theresa May because it's like walking through mud. But he also talks about a hostile atmosphere within the Home Office over issues such as drugs, and the extent of state surveillance of communications. So there we're getting another little insight into what is being planned. Of course, is Theresa May that's built this spider's web around herself of surveillance, linking into MAPA, the multi-agency public protection arrangement, which can spy on any of us. Then we've got the psychiatrists operating in the Fixated Threat Assessment Centre. And I think that this man, he won't realise what he's been amongst, but he's been at the heart of the web, where we've got some pretty vicious policies being formulated. And of course, Theresa May is driving this. The same Theresa May who can't even run a child abuse investigation. So I think this is extremely interesting. And what made Mr. Baker think that there was a coalition where Cameron or Theresa May would take any notice of the Lib Dems? You've been conned. That's my reaction to it, I think. So, well, that brings us back to the wolf.
Yeah, Theresa May has apparently said sorry again over yet another debacle over the Westminster child abuse inquiry. The panel are meeting for the first time a week today, actually, 4 months after it was first announced that there would be a panel, and with no chairman after Fiona Woolf finally resigned. Theresa May now says she may look overseas for a new chairperson. Also revealed today is the fact that a female judge and others have turned down the top judge, the top job. Now, Theresa May told MPs, "It is obviously very disappointing that we do not yet have a panel chairman, and for that I want to tell survivors that I am sorry. To put it bluntly, it will not be straightforward to find a chairman who has both the expertise to do this hugely important work and has had no contact at all with an institution or individual about whom people have concerns. I still believe, however, it is possible to find somebody who is suitably qualified and can win the confidence of survivors. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to do something that is hugely important. Together we can expose what has gone wrong in the past and we can prevent it." Yeah. Those are her thoughts. Now, how about Bill Maloney for the top job? How about, would you take it?
Would I take it on? I'd love to take it on, yeah.
There you go.
But I don't think they'll take me on. We're going to cover this in a couple of seconds, coming from a different angle. But very interesting that Theresa May, can we just bring her back on screen, if be kind enough, Nick? Just to say, it looks to me like this lady is coming under huge pressure. So she's had 2 attempts to put in place a cover-up mechanism to stop people really getting amongst the child abuse issue. She's failed. And I think it's highly significant. She's now saying, what an insult to the British.
Yep.
There's nobody capable of doing this in Britain, so I'm going to look overseas. This is like David Cameron saying, to sort out policing in London, we need to bring in the American police officer. So these people are internationalists. They're looking for any and every excuse to undermine Britain as a nation state. But I think that face, it doesn't matter how much makeup she's got on there, that face is saying this woman is being put under huge pressure. You've got to keep the lid on the abuse, and you've got to protect the paedophiles in Westminster and the establishment, and the pressure's beginning to tell.
Yeah. Can I just say, Simon Danzik requested to join our page for Melanie Shaw.
Yes.
Our UK column. So, Mr. Danzik, you must know of the UK column. Maybe you can put Mr. Garish's name forward as a potential chair of the Child Abuse Inquiry. If not, Mr. Bill Maloney and Pie Mash Films.
But we're going to thank Mr. Danzik for joining anyway. So we'll see where that leads. Well, in contrast to Theresa May, let's have a look at Ms. Wolfe. And my goodness, she's radiant here.
She looks well, doesn't she?
She's, I think probably this is a catalogue photograph that the Telegraph has used. But a very, very interesting article in the Telegraph. Whether Fiona Wolfe heads it or not, well, we now know not. The abuse inquiry will fail. And I really recommend people read this article. It essentially says that the inquiry is so broad it can never achieve anything. And it also says the inquiry shouldn't be investigating organisations, it should be investigating people. And I totally agree with these two things, because at the end of the day, people have got to be made accountable for their actions. It's meaningless to say, well, the Home Office failed. No, no, no. Theresa May failed. She can be sacked. So that was just a brief bit of it. But I will read this from the article. It's been set up to investigate thousands, or more probably hundreds of thousands, of actions and failures to act from 1970 to the present across a vast range of state and non-state institutions. These include government departments, parliaments, ministers, police, prosecuting authorities, schools of all kinds, local authorities, care homes, children's services, health service, prisons, secure estate, churches, political parties, armed services. He couldn't have put it better. This thing has been made so broad. What is the last thing they're going to be looking at? Where the paedophiles in Parliament and Westminster are. And he is particularly astute here in this analysis, which is that there are 3 types of failed inquiry: failing to uncover or concealing the facts. And he says, well, that happened in the 1972 tribunal on Bloody Sunday. The report gets to the truth and criticises, but fails to make anybody accountable. And he's chosen the sorry, Nick, I just need that for two more. Butler report into Blair's weapons of mass destruction. And then you produce a report that looks good, but it's political kneecapping. And he's chosen as an example there the Lord Macpherson, where they found the Met Police institutionally racist. but it was such a broad accusation that it didn't actually take people anywhere. So do have a read of this Telegraph article because it rips apart this inquiry totally. They don't want this inquiry because this inquiry could well start to unravel the paedophiles in Westminster and the establishment that are running these abuse rings. Amazing stuff. Well, that brings us back nicely to Melanie Shaw. I've had a great deal of contact from people saying, how is Melanie, what's happening? Well, Melanie is on bail at the moment. We believe that the next step is that they're trying to get more psychiatric reports on her. The judge mysteriously produced a report in the courts last week, and he said that, well, this lady has got mental problems, schizophrenia mentioned, but nobody has ever seen such a report. And in fact, Melanie has a series of reports which is saying that she doesn't have those kinds of health problems. But this was the judge. We're going to bring him on screen again because he's made some very strange decisions around paedophiles in the past. Here he is. And in court, he told the jury that don't be put off, this lady's a bit strange. He also said that, if I can bring it up, Operation Daybreak, which is the Nottinghamshire Police child abuse investigation into abuse at Beechwood and 12 other homes, is a conspiracy theory. Now, we've been told by a number of people that these two remarks equate to the judge conducting law from behind the bench, and effectively they show that he was biased in the court hearing and the whole case should be nullified. Now, we're waiting to see whether the defence team is going to put in an appeal. That will ultimately be Melanie's decision, and although she's been through such a rough time, she is thinking very clearly at the moment. But let's have a look at what has actually happened to Melanie Shaw. She's abused from a very young age by a family, 3 to 4 years old. I won't describe what she has told us. She's then taken into foster care where she is abused again. And of course, who arranged the placement? Well, it's Nottinghamshire Social Services. They take her away from that environment. They put her in Beechwood Children's Home where supposedly she's going to be nurtured and protected. Well, no, she's raped and abused again. Nottingham Social Services then take her child away. This happened, of course, within a few months of her blowing the whistle on the extent of the abuse. And as a result of this just horrendous court case under Judge Pert, Melanie Shaw is now on bail under the control of the very same Nottinghamshire Social Services that have failed her all the way through. And this is welcome to Britain under David Cameron. Let's name the man with ultimate responsibility. It is David Cameron and, of course, Theresa May. It's almost beyond belief, isn't it?
It is.
Well, this leads many people in the public to grasp at what can we do to protect children. And it's interesting to see that the Maddie McCann story back in the headlines, and we've got the Express here with Jerry McCann saying that basically a child alert app could have found Madeleine. And as you delve into this article, what we see is that he is suggesting that all children should be basically monitored all the time. So go into the article and you'll find he's talking about this organisation, Child Rescue Alert. Effectively, let's get all the children monitored so that we know where we are all the time. Microchip, yeah. Go into this organisation and what do we get there? About Us, you'll find that they're linked through to CEOPS and the police and the European Union and a whole range of other people, highly suspect in my book. And if you continue to go, you'll be linked through to yet another organisation, which is Missing Persons. So have a look at some of the backers of these organisations. You're into banking, fraternities, insurance companies, ACPO, the Home Office, what is this? It's like a fishing net to scoop up all of the children in this country.
Absolutely.
And it's being promoted to the public off the back of good old Jerry and Maddie McCann.
Have you seen the Richard D. Hall documentary yet?
I have, yes.
It's
and pretty
incredible,
extraordinary.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Incredible.
So, as we always say, don't just believe UK column news, do your own research, have a look at those organisations, and in particular we say have a look at the trustees, have a look at the management team, look at their backgrounds, and you decide whether you trust any of these people near your children. And if we're talking about politicians and trust, then probably we should come back to Mr. Alex Salmond, and the man who was going to fade away if he lost the referendum vote is now saying, well, I think I could do a nice little deal with Labour to help them get enough seats to hold the balance of power if they needed that help after the election. So he rules out a deal with the Tories, but he said he could prop up a minority Labour government. So this man, I think many people will call him despicable, would be holding the balance of power within Westminster Parliament. There's no shame with these people, is there?
None at all. How's Robert?
Robert Green remains under house arrest. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
I think the more and more information about the Holly Gregg case and links through to the SNP party itself is coming to the fore. More on that over the next few days. But it is clear now that many people north of the border are also starting to demand a proper inquiry into child abuse. So we wait and see what happens. Robert, of course, still got to wait till January next year for a court hearing. Still doesn't know what he's been charged with. Justice under Alex Salmond. And I believe that there's a little bit of controversy at the moment because Eilish Angelini is trying to chase Robert for, I think it's £29,000 in court costs. Robert, of course, challenges that whole civil case raised by Eilish Angelini, but at the moment Robert can't be involved in any case, whether costs or not, because the police, of course, stole all of his documents and evidence from his home when they raided them. So that's quite interesting. And if I may also just drop in there, there's obviously a little bit of interest creeping up amongst the alternative media north of the border in the fact that UK column has consistently supported Anne and Holly Gregg over Holly's abuse, and of course we continue to support Robert Green, and I'm delighted to say we will continue to do that. And if you want to know what the baseline is for our support, it's the fact that, of course, since Grampian Police did not investigate any of the key people put forward by Holly, there was no crime and no problem, let's all go home. So there we have it. We will continue to support Anne and Holly Gregg and Robert Green, and that's it, really. So what about the Florida girl?
Okay, Daily Mail, well done for covering this story. And this story is of a 10-year-old Florida girl called Mary Sue, who is now paralysed after receiving the annual flu jab. Her mum, Carla, says before the paralysis from the flu jab, Mary was a happy, healthy girl who enjoyed school and sang in the church choir. Now a year on, and Mary Sue is unable to speak and is completely bedridden. Researchers carried out by the National Institute of Health have blamed a condition called ADEM, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce how that's what that stands for. But you can have a look at that. And they're saying after the fact, actually, after she was taken paralysed, they are blaming this condition, and they say 5% of people who receive vaccines do suffer and come down with this. And there's the picture of little Mary Sue before and after having the annual vaccine. But apparently doctors are still urging everybody to receive the vaccination.
Yeah. Now, I wondered what I could do to give people a little bit of a flavour of the British Constitution Group conference. We covered a lot of information, and of course the key part of the conference was to talk about common law, the attacks on our constitution what we can do to protect ourselves, generally to educate each other about what is happening and how the country is being destroyed from within. So we've just seen that harrowing picture of the little girl
before and after
before and after. And I say to myself, so what sort of people are making decisions to keep us safe in this country? And I'm not going to apologise for bringing up this slide, which I put as part of my talk with the British Constitution Group. Let us have a look at the quality of politicians that make decisions for us in this country. So we're going to remind ourselves, this is Brooks Newmark, who was swapping what most people would consider to be dirty little pictures. He got a thrill out of the excitement of putting this stuff across on the internet. And if you say, well, we're prejudiced because this is, of course, is the Tory party, then we better hop across to Labour. Chris Bryant, and here he is in his Y-fronts, advertising for Partners. Absolutely no shame, no morality, and we wonder why Britain is descending into chaos. So it's very easy. We look at the quality of the people. So many of them have been stealing money. I'm not saying these two gentlemen, but we know from the expenses scandal they're prepared to steal money. Is it any wonder that we've got the shambles in this country? So here they are. Not pretty, is it?
No.
And we couldn't resist also bringing in Florence of Arabia. We had a hot picture of this young man this morning. I don't know what the P is. I can think of a variety of words beginning with P, but I think it means provisional, presumably to do with his driving licence. But Rory Stewart MP, known to his fellow MPs as Florence of Arabia, but of course let's remember that he's chairman of the Defence Select Committee. He's obviously a man terrifying President Putin, and we're going to say to people, sleep easy knowing that Britain's military security is in safe hands.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Yeah,
that's it.
There we go. Well, where does that take us?
Oh, yes.
It takes us to this. We just thought we'd prove that we are like everybody else, and we're getting all of the harassment that many people are across the country. So a few minutes before the show, we opened the mail, and here was another threatening letter from TV licensing.
Can we zoom in on it or not?
No, I could only put this on screen pretty quickly. But it's threatening us. It says that our database shows there's no TV license at your premises. By law, we have to investigate that. It says we know there are many pressures on your business and we don't want to add to them. So to avoid any inconvenience, could you get in touch with us today and pay us some money and we'll go away? And if we have a look on the back, it tells you what doesn't amount to a defence in court. So I can't afford the licence. I don't know what kind of licence my business requires. We only use laptops. Well, we're going to say to TV licensing, just go away.
Yes.
It's incredible, isn't it? But we'll keep you posted on that, because hopefully we will get a visit from TV licensing.
Maybe we can interview the guy.
Well, we will. We'll do a doorstep interview, but there we are. So, fairly short, rapid news today. We are getting back in the swing of things after the conference. Thank you very, very much for everybody who turned up. We met some wonderful people.
I did for a little while, but I had to rush home again.
It was a quick one there. But it was a wonderful weekend. We thoroughly enjoyed meeting you all, and we know that the Health Day on Sunday also went exceptionally well. So we will be looking to repeat the event, and of course we know that any matter to do with the Constitution and common law, very, very important, as these naked politicians start to try and destroy Britain's Constitution.
Are we going to do another conference then?
Where we're looking at a number of options. One thing I will say before we finish is that we did appreciate the response to our documentary film about foot and mouth slaughtered on suspicion. And it was very, very interesting. A number of people said, can we have a copy to get back into the farming communities? Mm-hmm. So we're looking at a way of perhaps maybe doing a few events in order to show that video.
That'd be good, yeah,
which
brilliant.
I think would be excellent. Okay, thanks very much for joining us. That's it for today. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.